Have you ever wondered how to make an injection mold at home? Well, sit back and prepare to be enlightened. Injection molding, a fascinating process, is key to creating many of the plastic items we use daily. From toy parts to bottle caps, this versatile technique is a cornerstone of modern manufacturing. But here's the catch. It's not just for factories. With the right tools and a little patience, you can bring this process into your home workshop. Today, you'll discover the step-by-step process of making an injection mold right in your own home. Before we dive in, gather these necessary items. To embark on this exciting journey of home-based injection molding, we'll need a few common household items, as well as some specialty ones. First up, a plastic injection molding kit. This is the star of the show, and you can find one at your local craft store or online. Then, you'll need a selection of plastic pellets. These come in various colors and types, so choose ones that suit your project. Next, a digital scale. Precision is key in molding, and a scale will ensure you use the right amount of plastic. Also, grab a metal mold. You can purchase one or make your own, depending on your level of expertise. Don't forget safety equipment. A pair of safety glasses and heat-resistant gloves are a must. Lastly, a heat gun and a clamp will come in handy. With all these materials ready, we're set to begin the molding process. Safety should never be an afterthought when working on projects like this. It's essential to wear protective gear like goggles and gloves. Keep your work area well ventilated to avoid inhaling any harmful fumes. Use tools with care and precision to avoid injuries. Always have a first aid kit nearby, just in case. And remember, if you're unsure about something, it's better to ask or look it up than to risk an accident. After all, as the adage goes, remember, safety first is safety always. Now, we're going to carve our mold. This isn't just an exercise in creativity, but a test of precision and patience. To start, you'll need a block of aluminum. Why aluminum, you ask? It's because aluminum is sturdy yet malleable, making it the perfect material for our mold. The size of the block will depend on the size of the object you're planning to create. If you're a beginner, it's wise to start small and gradually work your way up. Next, you'll need a set of carving tools. These can range from simple handheld tools to more complex machinery, depending on your skill level and the intricacy of your design. Remember, the goal here is precision, so choose tools that you're comfortable with and that will help you achieve the highest level of detail possible. Once you have your tools and aluminum block ready, it's time to start carving. Begin by tracing out the design of your object onto the aluminum block. This will serve as your guide throughout the carving process. Make sure to trace out both halves of the mold, one for the front of your object and one for the back. Now, the carving begins. Take your time and follow the traced outline closely. Remember, patience is key. It's better to go slow and get it right than to rush and make a mistake. If you're using a machine, make sure to keep a firm grip on the controls. If you're carving by hand, keep your movements steady and precise. During the carving process, remember to frequently check the depth of your mold. It should be deep enough to hold the molten plastic, but not so deep that it affects the shape of your final object. As you carve, you'll start to see your object take shape. It's a rewarding process, seeing your design come to life in the form of a mold. But remember, the mold is just the beginning. It's what you do with it that counts. With your mold carved out, we're halfway through. So take a moment to admire your handiwork before we dive into the next step, the injection process. The moment of truth, injecting the plastic. We're at the heart of the process now, where all our prior steps come together in a beautiful symphony called the injection process. It involves melting the plastic and propelling it into the mold. A process that might seem simple, but it's a delicate dance of timing and temperature control. Let's begin with the plastic. You want to make sure it's heated to just the right temperature. It needs to be hot enough to become a liquid, but not so hot as to burn or degrade. This is where the magic of science comes in. Different types of plastics have different melting points, so it's important to know your material well. Once your plastic is a smooth, molten consistency, it's time to inject. But wait, don't rush. The injection process is not about speed, it's about precision. You need to inject the plastic slowly and steadily into the mold. A rapid injection can lead to air bubbles or an uneven fill, which can ruin the entire piece. Now let's talk about the injection itself. You're going to use a syringe or a similar tool for this part. Make sure it's clean and dry before you start. You'll draw the molten plastic into the syringe and then carefully, oh so carefully, inject it into the mold. Remember the importance of timing. The plastic needs to cool in the mold but not harden completely. You want it to be solid enough to hold its shape but still soft enough to remove from the mold without breaking. This too, like the melting point, varies between different types of plastic. And voila, you've just injected your first mold. But remember, practice makes perfect. So don't be disheartened if your first few attempts don't turn out perfect. Keep trying, keep learning, and soon you'll be a master of the injection process. Our creation isn't complete without a little polish. Now that the injection process is done, we move on to the final touches. Carefully remove the mold from the injector. It may be hot, so use protective gloves. Once cooled, gently take out the molded object. Any excess material on the edges? Just trim it off with a sharp blade. But remember, safety first. Now let's make our creation shine. You can sand it using fine grit sandpaper for a smooth finish. If you want, you can even paint it or add any other decorative elements. Get creative, this is your masterpiece after all. Next up, let's clean up. Dispose of any leftover materials properly. Clean your tools and workspace to maintain safety and efficiency for your next project. Remember, a clean workspace is a happy workspace. And there you have it, your very own homemade injection mold. Let's take a moment to look back at what we've accomplished today. We've gathered all the necessary materials, prioritized safety, prepared the mold, and navigated the injection process. This journey was all tied together with some final touches and a thorough cleanup. Each step was crucial in mastering the art of making an injection mold at home. It's been an adventure, hasn't it? Now that you've mastered the art of injection molding at home,